Okay, you're doing really well on this SkillsUSA project. I've been helping students and giving you a chance to get caught up. And so let's take a look at this final project that we're working with in the last couple of weeks. We have still a roof and foundation, like a basement, and we'll finish that up here. So the first thing I'd like to show you is the roof. We have so many different variations of roofs that we can do in this house, and I've looked at so many of them, but this one seems to be the one a student developed, and um, like I said, I've had different designs based on whether they're gable or hip. So the hip roof is going to be this one that that slopes up and at the end here, and a gable is going to be this one here that is this straight roof pitch with um, a ridge that comes out to the end, as opposed to this being a hip roof. So what do we have? We have a couple of gable roofs and we have a couple of hip roofs. So when you look at this, when I double click on it, you can see where the little arrows are and how we're forcing it to slope up at these walls. So on your project, and I picked up a different student's project here, you may not be as far ahead, but hopefully by now you have some things completed based on previous videos. And like I said, I am totally here to help you with this as well. At this point, I did go to the View tab and click on this tile view in order to see more than one view. And because it's all one model, I have two different projects open. But if you have just one file open, you would be able to see it in multiple ways. So in the architecture tab, so I want to make sure that I'm in the floor plan view, and I'd like to be on the level 2 instead of the level 1. So I went to level 2, and now I can go up to and make sure I'm in this view. I'm going to go up to roof by footprint, and over here I'm going to make sure that I have a check mark in define slope. And then you can decide on an overhang. If you put one in there, it would be for 1 foot. And now I want to make sure that I select the walls that I'd like those little triangles to be on now, because I have this extension here. I'm going to go right over it and create something else for that later, and be able to pull these two together. So I'm going to go ahead and continue to click around this way. Because we have a hip here, I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And then we're going to have one on this little piece right here to bring that roof up. One over here. Remember, this is the gable, so we won't have the triangle in front of it. I'm going to leave that one alone for a minute. I'm going to click on here and here. This one's the gable. I'm going to leave that alone and click here. All right, so now I can take the check mark out of define slope and come back and pick up these two roof ends so that those are going to be gable ends. And then also I'm going to use here one of my favorite tools up in modify called trim extend corner. And I'm going to click on this one and this one to make sure that you have that all one solid continuous roof. All right, I'm going to pick the green check mark and I want to attach the walls to the roof. So now I can go over to the 3D view, check it out. In this one, it looks pretty good here, and you'll be able to create your roof. All right, do the best you can. If you create just a little slab or leave that one, it's okay. At this point, because you've gone through the roof video, you can select your wall, click attach top base, and then click on the roof, and then these should attach. So click on the wall, click attach top base, and then click on the roof. Okay, so let's get that at least in line for for the final project. Let's go take a look at the foundation. So the thing about the foundation is that when you draw this wall, it's going to start at the top and go down as opposed to the wall starting at the bottom and going up. So I'll show you what I mean. If we go to, I'm just going to draw a wall out in space so that you can take a look at this. If you go down to wall and architecture and you look at all your different walls, what you'll find is towards the bottom there, you'll find this foundation 12-inch wall right here, and you can click on that. Now you see what it says? It says base offset is -12, right? So when I click out in space and draw this, you see what it's doing? It's creating a wall that, I'll just show you here, that goes down from that level. So we want to tell it where to go, like where the top is and where the bottom is, and the height of it. So in order to establish where the basement is, it's a good idea to go over to the elevations. So I'm going to go over to any one of these elevations and establish another level. See, right now it's kind of like floating down there. It doesn't have a place at the bottom for that wall to sit. Now you can use several different heights depending on your wall section. I'm going to keep it simple and make it a -8 feet, but when you really look at the detailing of it through section, you have the floor joist, the mud sill, the foundation wall, and then you have the footing down at the bottom. So let's go to the architecture tab and click on level. And at this point, you can just throw it in there, or you can kind of find it. If you just go ahead and click and pull your mouse over and click, you can always change the name of these. I use my escape key or click on modify to get out of that. See, this is where you can start to name these levels. So maybe this one is called basement, right? And then this one, I'll pick yes so that it'll change the name of your levels in the browser. You can also go ahead and change this one to first floor. They all should be uppercase actually, because when you bring these into a sheet, they're going to show, these names. So I'm going to make this one uppercase, and then this one we could make it roof, just so that we know what it is. Okay. So now that we have that, you can click right on here, this number, and change that -8 feet. I know that it's probably 7 foot something depending on the way that you are creating your structure. All right, so that's going to be the level from first floor to basement that we're going to be creating this foundation. I'll go over to the first floor. So in the first floor plan, before you start your wall, we'll need to change the underlay so that you can actually see it. Right now it's underlay none. So you see this underlay range base. We need to change that to basement so that you can actually see your wall. If I didn't do that, it would prompt me that nothing is going to be visible. So change your range base to basement, pick apply, and then when you place your foundation wall here, you'll be able to see, you see that light line, you'll be able to see that you're lining it up with that wall. So this range base gets changed to the basement, and then we can start to place our basement wall. We'll go to wall architectural, change your properties here to foundation 12-inch concrete. And then if you look at the settings, we actually have it unconnected. So we want to change that to basement so that it goes down to the basement. And you see how it's depth instead of height. So it's going down to the basement 8 feet, and it's going along the wall center line. So if it's going along the wall center line, this is not always the case, though. We can click here, the wall center lines, and you see how you can actually see the wall being developed there. So I'll come over here, and as you come around the corner, you're going to see that it's cleaning up nicely. Okay, so I went around the entire house, but keep in mind that the garage will be on a slab on grade, so it's not going to have its own foundation wall. Sometimes it does have a trench footing, which is shorter, and it doesn't usually have a footing on it. So let's take a look at this one first. If I go to the 3D view, you'll see that you have this. Let me open this up a little bit more here. There we go. If you have this if you look at the 3D view, I bypassed the garage because, like I said, it's going to be a slab. And so at this point, we need to have a foundation, a footing. So we can go over to structure and go to under foundation for structure. We can click on wall, which kind of wish they would have called that footing, but here it is. Go ahead and click on wall right there under structure foundation. And at this point, you're just really going to click on all your walls in order to bring this footing all the way around. I want to know why there's an extra wall, extra line there. No, okay, so this is good all the way around like so. So that's going to be your foundation wall and your footing. So now we can go in and place a basement. There's all different kinds of connections for that as well. For the most part, it's usually at the bottom of the foundation wall, sitting on the foundation footing. So let's put one in here. We can always drop it down in the offset. We'll go to the architecture tab and go to floor architecture. And then in here, we can use the generic one, but we don't need a 12-inch, right? Because so the foundation is usually only a 4-inch slab. So we'll go ahead and click edit type once we start the floor. We'll click duplicate and we'll change this to 4-inch. This is going to be like the name of it. I'll pick OK. Under structure, I'm going to click on edit and then I'm going to change the thickness to 4-inch. So I'm changing the floor thickness to 4-inch. I'm going to go ahead and pick OK. I only called it floor generic 4-inch, but you can call it concrete slab if you'd like. At this point, I'm ready then to follow here the wall around to make this, floor, basement floor. And what I did was I kept this piece out here as a bay window that wouldn't have a foundation, but if yours goes all the way down, you want to kind of bring it out and make sure that you have some support underneath it. Okay, everyone's going to have a different design, so this is where we have to I'm trying to keep it generic for that. And we also would have then a concrete slab underneath the fireplace as well. So I'm going to go ahead and pick the green check mark. There's my my foundation flooring, which just doesn't show up just yet. But if we go back to the floor plan, over to view and pick section, we can see a section that's cut through here in order to create one. I'm just gonna go ahead and select here and here just to create a quick one. You can double click on the head of it, or you can come over here and see that it's in the project browser in order to look at your section. And there it is. You'll see that you have all of these different things that you can tweak. But here's the foundation slab, and you can see that it's down, further. So what we can do is we can change the offset of that to a +4, and it'll go up and it'll sit on this foundation ledge. So if we go back to the basement floor, watch you're not getting into the ceiling plans. I like to collapse that just to make sure you're not in the ceilings. Double click on the basement floor. You can't see it, so you may have to um, put your pointer on this edge between the wall and the floor because it's not showing the concrete uh, in the plan. You can put your pointer between right there on that wall and press and let go of the tab key a couple of times until you get to the floor and then click. That's one way. Another way I think we looked at is to select everything. If you select everything, you can go to this little funnel here and click on that little filter and check on like none, and then pick up your floors, and that'll give it to you as well. Now, at this point, you can either double click on it or pick edit boundary. If you click, if you have something selected, the ribbon will change, and I'm going to click on edit boundary. It really brings us back into this basement floor, and here are the parameters. I actually like to pick this properties palette up and put it over here. Some of you may have done that already. I can see the whole thing then. At this point, we can change the height from the basement level, and we'll make sure that you type in 4 inches and not 4 feet. And if you pick apply for your 4 inches to the height from the level, then you should be able to pick the green check mark, go back to your section, and see that you see now it's at like the right place, sitting there on that footing. So it's 4 inches above, 4 inches above here at the basement. And you could do the same thing here with the top of the foundation if you'd like. Because when you start to work with the section, we're going to have to kind of scooch things around as they should be drawn. In fact, it will probably be, depending on this, everything depends on the construction of the building. If you have brick, if you have siding, it's all going to change. So in this design drawing, we're not, picking up the actual details of it, but you can see if we were working with construction drawings, we would, if it's siding, let's say, we'd make sure that when we drew this foundation wall, it would be in line with this outside wall. So one thing you could do, because this would be like the floor joists, is you don't need to here, but you can change the top offset to whatever your floor depth is. So now we're talking about construction and not design. And I've taught full 16-week classes to construction students at university level. And so there is this kind of transition of the architecture design elements and the construction, uh, actual elements. You would figure out the floor joist depth and make sure that you were using a joist system, right? Right now we're using a generic 12-inch, when really, if you think about it, there's a subfloor that's 3/4 of an inch, and there's 2 by 10 potentially that's not really 10, but it's like 9 1/4. So the floor might be 10 inches. And then you also have a mud sill that's underneath that, which isn't really 2 by 6, it's actually 1.5. So as you develop that, you'll see, and you won't need to do it for this class, but you'll see that this offset right here of this wall would come down here to, and a little bit further to pick up the mud sill that you would draw in, later on. Okay, so for this week, let's concentrate on getting the roof on and the foundation walls with the footing and the basement floor. And then next week, our last week, we will come back and put the stairs in as we develop this, and also look at materials and I'll show a little bit about creating a construction section as well, along with a few other things to wrap up this project.